Okay, so everyone remembers Jong-Il, the monster of the deep, right? What? No. How can you people not remember? Ugh. Fine. In the 1960s, at the height of the giant monster craze, South Korea produced their version of a Godzilla movie involving a corny-looking dinosaur that tears up a small city. This video has nothing to do with that. No, for this video, we're heading into the deeps of North Korea. While Godzilla was very popular in Japan, he was pretty popular all over the world. He caught the eye of young Kim Jong-Il, the prince to the North Korean dynasty. The soon-to-be beloved leader was a fan of films from all over the world and had supposedly amassed a huge film collection from all around. According to legend, he even has lots of very rare and considered lost films, like the destroyed Japanese King Kong films. He's also believed to have one of the largest porn collections in the world. Yeah. Anyway, in the 80s, he'd grown tired of North Korea's output in the propaganda industry and thought some new blood was in order. Propaganda works best if it's refreshed, right? He did the only rational thing he could think of: kidnap South Korea's most famous director and actors, imprison them for a couple of years, out on the condition that they make films like Kim Jong-Il wrote. I mean, it happens. And sure enough, they gave in to his demands. Shin Sang-ok, as the director was known, made 7 films in North Korea with his wife and the young prince. The most famous of these is called Pulgasari, a Korean ripoff of Godzilla. Okay, I gotta say, this is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. The North Koreans actually deny this. They say that he came willingly and he was kidnapped by the Americans, but why should we believe them? Oh, I guess we should, because we're brainwashed Americans, right? I forget this from time to time. Anyway, the movie is supposed to be communist propaganda, showing the virtues of the Red Party and how you can better yourself by serving loyally to the divine leader or some crap. But how does it work simply as a film? Well, it's set back in the horse and sword days of feudal Korea during what, according to Wikipedia, is the Goryeo dynasty. It concerns an evil king overtaxing his peasant population and imprisoning them for not being able to pay. One day, a blacksmith decides he's had enough and won't take it anymore, and so creates a small figure out of rice paste and uses magic to bring it to life. His daughter's blood actually sparks the creature and comes alive with the finest rubber suit acting this side of Japan. Look at the thing, running all around, all small. It feeds off of metal and begins to grow larger and larger. Eventually, they use the monster to fight off the evil king's soldiers, and as it approaches Godzilla's size, they march on the king's castle and tear it to the ground. Pretty badass, I think. It's actually based on the ancient legend of the Pulgasari, which had spread throughout Asia. I'd always wanted to see a Godzilla movie set back in the samurai days. I mean, plenty of other people do too. I guess this is the closest we'll ever get. Look at these sets and things. They're brilliantly put together and are convincing enough. I mean, the monster is kind of stupid looking with that dumb look on his face, but look how detailed and intricate the costume is. Look at how the face moves. These giant feet are kind of silly, but they give the creature an immersive quality that Godzilla never really had. Maybe I'm just such a sucker for miniatures and rubber suits that I actually like this crap, but come on! It's a giant monster movie! Plus, the guy who played Godzilla throughout the 80s and 90s was allowed into North Korea to portray Pulgasari. I wonder why he wasn't kidnapped. Of course, he never shoots any fire or anything. Holy crap, he does! I like the monster Pulgasari too. He seems to have that living personality that was a hallmark of the Godzilla monsters. He tells jokes, interacts with the soldiers, and even seems to believe in the cause he's fighting for. And what if you were one of those soldiers? Imagine what it would be like fighting alongside an invincible giant monster that can crush your enemies. The only thing missing is another monster for him to fight. If he had some kind of dragon, like with more than one head, this movie might be some kind of a classic. Yes, there are other human characters who help ground the story for us humans, but no one cares about them. One last thing I have to mention is that after Shin Sang-ok escaped from North Korea, or was kidnapped, or whatever, he eventually had the opportunity to see the 1998 American remake of Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. He claimed that this movie was better. What do you make of that, Roland? I personally agree, but what's that saying? Diarrhea is better than the American Godzilla. So, like I said, this movie is supposedly communist propaganda. The monster's hunger for iron is supposed to represent the greed of capitalism and how it sucks up countries' resources. Once the monster eats all the iron, the people have to go to war to get more resources. That's not exactly how capitalism works, but whatever. I've also read that the monster is a subtle metaphor for the Communist Party in North Korea, which is more the vibe I get from it. One of the faults I have with the film is its ending. I presume no one's really going to see this, so I'll go ahead and spoil it. Once they determine the monster is eating too many resources, they feel the need to destroy their hero. The young woman who has been controlling the monster gets it to eat her alive and thus destroy the two of them together. My problem is, after the monster dies, his soul or whatever flies back into the young woman and brings her back to life. What the hell? What about self-sacrifice and taking one for the team? Remember how Dr. Serizawa killed himself to destroy Godzilla? What, did the test audiences not like that ending? But okay, fine, the monster himself is dead. It makes me think more of the notion that the hero must die, or at least ride off into the sunset, or put another way, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or something like that, I don't know. So I guess what they're saying is capitalism is okay as long as it doesn't go unchecked. Kind of like communism in certain respects. Except that it's gone completely unchecked in North Korea. Or maybe it's not propaganda at all, and it's just a silly monster movie that a deeply insane human being wanted to create. I mean, at what point is something propaganda? The original Godzilla is anti-American propaganda, yet it's hailed as one of the greatest films of all time. I mean, yeah, it's more about nuclear weapons and things, which is a little more universal, but guess who had nuclear weapons in the 50s? America! Even Nazi propaganda, like The Triumph of the Will, is regarded as being a great film, despite its heavy political connotations. Hell, even Casablanca is propaganda, but no one ever admits that. I mean, it's not like it's secretive, it's the surface narrative. Hell, you can make the argument that every movie ever made is propaganda. I mean, they're propagating ideas, aren't they? Trying to get you to believe in something that isn't real. If it wasn't for the hatred of North Korea, I bet this movie would be really something today. There! I said it! I mean, I don't think North Korea is exactly a, nice place, but we shouldn't arbitrarily hate things simply because they come from a different political ideology. I mean, the North Koreans can't be that bad if they have a taste for kaiju films, can they? Well, maybe they can, but even so, this movie is up for free right on YouTube. Give it a watch, you may like it. You may even be brainwashed into serving the beloved leader.